Peace, loved ones. It's your boy P.O.P. That's right. We living passionately on purpose. And you already know what it is. You are now locked in to Ridin with Purpose with my guy, One Purpose Mom. If you need inspiration, motivation, you just need some food for your soul to get ready for your week, this is the right place to be. So buckle up and let's ride.
What's going on, guys? You're now tuned into another edition of Riding with Purpose. I am excited about tonight. I'm truly excited. We took a 2-week break, and now we're coming with the last episode for this season. It's been an awesome journey. I can't believe we've done 10 shows so far, and it's truly a blessing. When we set out to do this journey, I didn't know how we was going to accomplish it. I just knew God spoke to me and said, let's just do it. And along the journey, I took you guys kind of behind the scenes. We started just going on Instagram Live, and we was figuring it out along the way. And then a good friend of mine out in Canada, Frank, reached out and said, how can I help? And if I could share a message with you guys before I bring the guests is, you just got to get started, guys. I mean, I don't care what it is. You got to get started. And when you get started, when you take that step, I believe things start aligning themselves the way it's supposed to be. Frank reached out, and now not only are we on Instagram, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter. So just get started. Whatever it is you are in search of, whatever that quest is in your life, man, just get started because you never know who will be able to be a resource to you. And you never know who will be in position just to receive what it is you're giving. So I'm not going to prolong the time because we're going to have an awesome show tonight. I've been following this brother's journey for about 8 or 9 years. And I love his story because it shows how to push in spite of what's going on in your life. How to just take what life is giving you. You know how they say, make lemonade out of lemons. But I like to break it down. Not only are we going to make lemonade out of lemons, we're going to make lemon heads. We're going to make lemon juice. We're going to make lemon sauce. We're going to make anything we can out of lemons, baby. And so this brother, man, straight from the ATL, Kirkwood. I mean, man, this is like a brother, man, because we from the same spot. So it's going to be live tonight. I want to welcome you guys, my bro, Inky Johnson.
Oh, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. It's an extreme honor and privilege. But, man, just with expressing my gratitude, I just want to say thank you, man, for trusting your gift, trusting what God placed on your heart, to use this as a tool to be a blessing to the world. And so it's an honor to play a small part of something great, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely, bro. I can say we officially met last year. Had got a message about coming to mine at a young lady's celebration. And when I got there, I saw your wife. I said, hey, is that Inky? And she said, yeah, that's my husband. I said, man, for real? She was like, yep. And what I love about it, man, you was just a cool cat. The original ATL guys, man, we just cool and genuine, man. The real natives, we cool and genuine. So it was like just like one of the homies, it's like me, one of the homies, man. For the people that don't know your story, bro, share a little bit of your story, man, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so man, born and raised Atlanta, Georgia, East Side to be exact, Zone 6, Kirkwood, 125 Warren. My mother had me at 16 years old, took me back, 2-bedroom home, 14 people, sleeping on the floor, roaches and rats, pallets, and it was all good, because I was with family. But at the young age of 7 years old, man, I fell in love with the game of football. And I felt as if football would be the vehicle that can help me give my family a better way of life, and so I went all in, 100%, working toward it. And football, just the gift of it, blessed me to be the first one in my family to go to college, and broke a generational curse. And it was great, man. And I got extremely close to manifesting that dream and making it happen. And then I had an injury, and God introduced me into my purpose.
Absolutely, bro. And one thing I love about that story, bro, is man, you didn't let that adversity stop you, bro. You didn't let it
Mhm.
stop you, man. And I think a lot of times in life, bro, we hit those roadblocks, things happen, and it just stuns our growth, and it snatches us back 3 or 4 or 5 steps, and we're clueless as to what direction to go and how to navigate through life after that. Bro, after that injury, bro, what what motivated you to find, I wouldn't say something else, but what motivated you just to keep going in purpose, bro? What motivated you during that time?
Mhm. Yeah, man. I think it was a number of things, but if I had to pick a couple that was the most important to me, the people that had helped me, man, get to that point. Like I tell young people all the time, find you some people that you respect enough not to disrespect. And so my favorite quote is the quote by Dr. King, that says you judge the character and caliber of a person not by where they stand in times of comfort and convenience. You judge the character and caliber of a person by where they stand in times of challenge and controversy. And so fortunately for me, I had been through controversy, adversity, and opposition my whole life. It wasn't foreign to me. And I have been privileged to watch people close to me navigate it and deal with it that had helped me on a personal level get to that point in my life to when I was at the University of Tennessee and I was a projected first round draft pick. And those same people after my injury, the close group, right? Like my core group of people, they never left, right? They never flee. Like I'll never forget, man, I was in the hospital bed, and at this point, I had a brachial plexus avulsion, right? I had ruptured my subclavian artery. In other words, I paralyzed my right arm and hand and my fingers. And they had to save my life that night because I had an artery in my chest, the main artery. I had ruptured it and I was bleeding internally. And they had to take the main vein out of my left leg and plug it into my chest in order to save my life. And I'll never forget that next morning I was sitting there. I had 6 incisions down my left thigh. I had 1 incision across the left side of my neck, 1 across the right, twice through my right ribs, cut out my right pec, bottom of my armpit, all the way to the bottom of my hand, a long scar. And I was sitting in the bed, and I'll never forget, man, I was crying. And at the edge of my bed was my coach that signed me up to play ball when I was 7 years old. Came through the streets in Kirkwood, signed me and my cousins up. And I'll never forget, I said to him, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm sorry, man. And he said, what are you sorry for, Ink? I said, I can't make it to the NFL and I can't pay you back. And he said to me, he said, you think I did what I did for you for NFL? I was like, yeah, man, I thought that was part of it. He was like, man, bump the NFL. Like, I don't even watch the NFL. He said, I did what I did for you so you could become a great man one day. So you could become a great father one day if you're blessed with children. One day, if you're blessed with a family, a wife, you could be a great husband, a decent man. He said, the only thing I want from you, Ink, is for you to pay forward the sacrifices that I made for you in the lives of other people. He said, that's all I want from you, man. He said, I just want you to finish what you started. You came here to get a degree, finish it. Even though you got to learn how to write with your left hand in the process, finish it, right? You said you wanted to be the first one in your family to make it happen, finish it. And so for me, I would say the thing that drove me was my driving force. The people that had helped me and saw things in me when I couldn't see it in myself before the world knew who Inky Johnson was.
Man, yeah, for sure, bro. I remember I was watching one of your or was it an interview? I was watching something where you said that when they were recruiting you, they ranked you a 2 star. They
Yeah,
ranked you a 2 star, bro. Yeah, you said it was an
yeah,
article
man.
that came out and said Mr. No
Mr.
Star.
No Star, yeah. Mr.
Yeah,
No Star, yeah, man.
bro,
Yep,
bro,
yep,
man. My
yep.
question, bro, is, bro, how does a person take that energy given to them like a Mr. No Star, where they got people in the ear saying you can't do it, you can't make it? How do people take things like that and use it to propel them forward?
Yeah, man, I think it's important when it comes to the perspective that we have about growth, right? And so I think one of the main problems we have as people is we don't think we should have problems, right? And challenges and opposition and people that doubt us. And so for me, my whole life, I was an undersized guy. I was never the biggest, the fastest, the strongest. So I was used to people coming into a gym or walking out on the field and saying, like, that's the guy y'all talking about, like that little guy. And I was cool with it, right? It wasn't foreign to me. But I think as people, sometimes we take things personal, right? And we get so emotional about it that we get sidetracked in terms of our perspective that we have about whatever it is that we're pursuing and trying to accomplish. And so I say to people all the time, perspective drives performance every day of the week. Like how you view what you do will always affect how you do what you do. And so for me, I just kept my eyes on the prize. I tried to keep the right perspective every single day. What I was trying to do, what I was trying to accomplish every single day, and the decisions and choices that I was making, they were either putting me closer to my dreams and my goals and my aspirations, or they were pulling me further away from my goals, my dreams, and my aspirations. But I think it all started with having the right perspective about it.
Yeah, no doubt. Bro, success looks different for everybody, man. And
Absolutely.
everybody has their own path and their own journey. And initially yours
Sure.
was getting to the NFL, and your reasons, if I'm not mistaken, your reasons for going wanting to go was to have a better life for your family, for your mom
For sure.
and your relatives. And so
For
everybody,
sure.
their path is different. And I guess my question is, bro, how does a person define success for themselves, bro, and not
Mhm.
just based on what people see in them, but how do they truly define it for themselves and not for others?
Man, I'm so glad you asked this question, man. I think it's beautiful. It has substance. Um, but I think more than anything, it's extremely important because a person can get out into the world, man, and be extremely gifted, extremely talented, and they can get out on the internet or social media and they can start comparing their gifts to other people, and they weren't supposed to do that in the first place, right? Like God has blessed all of us in a unique way, right? And I think at a certain point, like you said, success and what it means to everybody is different, right? But if I can boil it down to one thing, I would say it's happiness, man, right? And when you tell a person that, like a person be like, happiness, I get it, I hear you, but I want this, and they ain't knocking you, right? I hope you get the desires of your heart, right? But I hope when you get it, you don't lose joy, happiness, peace, and your family in the process. Like I said to people all the time, I say, man, one of the worst things we can be is a public success, but behind closed doors, we're a private failure, right? One of the worst things that can happen, right? You reaching for the stars, but your family get burned up by the heat in the process. Not literal heat, but the process of what you're trying to accomplish. You've gotten off track so much that you've compromised your family in the process. And so I think whatever you pursue, man, like if I met cats that want to be an educator, right? And they're amazing at it, right? And they want to go and they get that salary, and they want to impact kids every single day, and it fills their cup. Awesome. I met people that want to be a volunteer high school coach. Awesome. I meet guys in construction. I got buddies that make 50 to $100 million, like all ends of the spectrum, right? But the thing that all of them want more than anything is happiness and peace, man, because I feel like that's something that you can't buy, you can't purchase it, right? It's internal.
Yeah, yeah, bro. That's really what got me miming, bro. Like for so long, man, I searched and searched for my purpose, and I had been miming since '01, and it wasn't until
Wow.
2013 I was like, man, this is it. This is what brings me joy and happiness. And it was therapy for me, bro. Like what I do, man, it's therapy, man. When I got a situation or something going on, I go dance, man. And I tell
Mm.
people all the time, I think it do more for me than it do for the people, man. You know what I mean? And so
Praise God.
man, I'm
Praise
just I'm just out. I just wanna just share the message through what heals me. And
God. Mm.
like you said, it's that peace and that happiness that brings joy to my life through dance. Now,
Beautiful.
life, bro, it don't
Mm.
give you all the time what you deserve, bro.
Nah,
Sometimes you got to go out there and demand and command what you want, bro. How does a
absolutely.
person stay rooted, bro, in the face of adversity? Now, I want you to give us some tangible things that you might do to stay locked in tuned and dialed in to your purpose, bro. In the face of adversity, things might be
Absolutely.
happening, busy schedule. What are some practical, tangible tools that you use or do to allow you to stay locked in, bro?
Absolutely, man. I think, just in terms of being intentional is extremely important, right? Like every single day being intentional about the smallest of things, right? Because for some strange reason, I tell people all the time, I think as people, man, like we get arrogant a lot and we feel as if we're
Mm.
promised something, right? Whether that be tomorrow, whether that be next week, whether that be a month from now, whether that be a year from now. We just assume that we're promised that, right? Like you hear people talk and they speak a certain type of way, and you're like, man, who promised you next week? Like, who promised you tomorrow? Like, who promised you next year? Who told you in 3 years, like, you're going to be here and you're going to be in the position you want to? Like, who promised you that, right? And we get arrogant as people and we stop being intentional about the things that are important. And so for me, because I almost lost my life in an instant, right? Like it rocked me, right? I went out to make a tackle. 2 hours later, I'm in the emergency room and I'm fighting for my life, right? By the grace of God, I made it through that. And the most important thing that happened to me was the lens of which I viewed life through totally shifted, right? Like every single day I get up, I'm extremely intentional about my energy, about my mindset, about the spirit that I approach my day with. Every single day, I stop with my quote cards, right? I got a quote bowl, right? I got them right here beside me right now, right? I got a quote bowl that I stop at every single day, right? And I grab me quotes and I read them, right? And it fills my spirit, right? I look at it as I'm putting on my armor, right? I do it with my family. I'm putting on my armor before I go out into the world. I'm feeding my spirit, right? I'm getting my mind right. The second thing important is gratitude, right? I don't go out with expectations on people anymore. I used to, right? I changed expectation for appreciation. I approach things with a spirit of gratitude. If something doesn't go my way, I'm grateful for it. Life, what are you trying to teach me right now? If it goes my way, praise God. Thank you, right? At the end of my day, right? I write, I journal, right? I journal to myself. I journal to my son, my 9-year-old son. I journal to my 10-year-old daughter. I journal to my wife, right? Now they don't get to see the journal, right? They've seen the outside of it, but they haven't seen what's on the inside of it yet, right? One day I'm going to gift it to them and, they'll read it or whatever. But in that journal is just me navigating and talking about life to the people that are most important to me, telling them why I make certain decisions and choices, telling them why I did this or why I did that, or how I view this or how I view that. And so for me, those are things that keep me centered, that keeps my perspective in the right place. But also when adversity and opposition happens, I got tools, right, that I can go to that I know is going to keep me focused, keep me on the right track, keep my mindset in the right space.
No doubt. Let's stay right there in that lane, man. We ride with purpose. We're gonna stay in that lane.
Absolutely.
How important or why is it important, bro, to set daily goals and weekly goals and goals for the month when traveling along this journey to whatever that path or that purpose is for your life? Why is it important to have a plan put together?
It's extremely important because, like Tyson said, everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? And I think what goals, what dreams, and what aspirations do, they remind you, right, of what's important. Like I say to people all the time, like we're adults, right? And the inspiration piece and the motivation piece is cool, right? And so a guy asked me one week, he was like, Ink, I see you post some of the same content sometimes. Like, is there a strategy with that or something behind that? And I said, yeah, I'll tell you why, right? Because I believe more than anything, as adults, like the inspiration and motivation is dope, it's cool, right? But as adults, more times than not, we need to be reminded of what's important. And I think with goals, with dreams, with aspirations, I think more than anything, they serve as a reminder of what's important, right? Like I still do a vision board, right? For me and mine, right? That I get up and I look at every single day. I look at it every single morning. I look at it every single night before I go to sleep. right? And so within the opposition, adversity, and challenges of life, I still go back to that because that's something that serves as a daily reminder of what's important and the dreams, goals, and aspirations that I have, not only for me personally, but for my wife, my children, our foundation, the things we want to do in the world, the people we want to help. And so I think it's extremely important because it can serve as a reminder when you hit rough patches in life.
Hey man, bro, I shared with you early on before we came live that how I initially started doing videos was I take my phone and
Mm,
prop it up on the canned good. I put some books on the little lunch trays, and I would
mm,
press record, set the little timer, and I would run in my living room and start dancing. I would have to take my small little Bluetooth, play the music from my laptop to my Bluetooth to get the
mm,
music started and time it perfectly. And I
mm,
think sometimes, bro, we want to rush to the finish line without even starting the race, bro. And
mm.
I think that's what we miss. A lot of
Yeah,
people miss it, man, is they don't want to endure that process, man. But I truly
yes, sir.
believe the process is what makes us, bro. It's what made me, man. It's what
Absolutely.
made you. And a lot of
Absolutely.
times what I try to tell people that lean and pull from me is like, man, don't rush the process because you learn something along every step of the way during the process. And if you don't learn something at that moment, you'll look back and realize how important that process was. Also, during that
Absolutely.
journey, bro, I prided myself on working hard. And it got a little crazy because I just felt like I wasn't getting anything accomplished unless I worked hard, unless I stayed up, you know,
Mm.
12, 24 hours a day. I was like, yeah, man, I ain't go to bed.
No
I ain't go to
sleep.
bed last night. Bro, I said, man, bro,
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
I would tell my homies, I'm like, yeah, man, I ain't getting no sleep last night. I was up,
Yeah.
but bro, I was beating myself up. Bro, you talk about
Done.
red eyes.
Oh, done.
I started getting wrinkles. I was like, hold up, bro,
Yeah,
this can't be
man.
the way, man. This can't be
Done.
the
I'm
way.
telling you. For
So
sure.
man, I felt like I wasn't being successful unless I was working, 20, 15, 19-hour days, man. But when
Hmm.
I changed my thought process, man, I started incorporating rest, meditation, self care, time with my family. When I did that, bro, I realized I was more effective when I
Absolutely.
switched my mindset. Bro, how does a person break the cycle of being busy with no effectiveness? And how does a person make sure, bro, that they're not cutting themselves short by not doing enough?
Absolutely. So I think that the number one thing would be, you have to be stronger than your strongest excuse, right? Like you got to be stronger than your strongest excuse, right? In terms of, what he's talking about in terms of breaking that cycle or trying to accomplish things and not feeling that guilt in terms of not enough. And so I think the challenge that most people have, me included, I used to have it a lot is, we're efficient, but we're not effective, right? We're doing things right, but we're not doing the right things, right? It's like you're staying up late, right? You just talked about you're staying up late, you feeling like, man, I'm grinding, but really that's not the right thing, right? One can look at it and be like, he's staying up, man, he's trying to yield the results, he's doing this thing. But really, when you think about it, it's not the right thing in terms of if you really want to be effective, if you really want to be productive, if you really want to take care of yourself and operate on an optimal level. And so understanding what is it going to take for you to be that individual. Like I loved it because in football, like you can look at my position was a cornerback. And so the way I would analyze and assess my position was what is it going to take for me to be successful against my opponents? Right. And so I would study everything like in terms of what they did, right? What were their splits on certain formations? How far did they line up off the hash? Where did I need to be on a bigger guy that was 6'5, 220, and I'm 5'10, 170 pounds? Like, how do I need to play this guy? but I knew what it took before I even stepped out on the field, right? And the same applies to my life with goals, dreams, and aspirations. I know what it's going to take. And now it's up to me to navigate the terrain in such a way that's healthy, not for just me, but for me, my wife, my children, the people I'm accountable to, my team, the people that serve alongside me. Like, how are we going to navigate this terrain in a healthy way to where when we get on the other side of it and we do accomplish the things that we seek to accomplish, the people that we've become in the process are not people that we're going to look back at and be disappointed. But it's going to be people that we look back at and be like, man, I'm proud of the father, the team member, the son, the husband that I became in pursuit of whatever I'm trying to accomplish.
Straight up, no doubt. And to my young homies that's watching this, man, look, I know, there's a cliche out there, it's a certain vibe that, you got to stay up in order to truly be looked at as successful. You won't get the
Right.
cred unless you out here, busting your behind, doing 15 different things. But like my bro said, man, if you're not being effective at none of it, then what you working for? Like you just creating a bunch
What
of
is it?
to-do lists. It's no good if you out
Mm-hmm.
here doing all this work and you tired. Your eating habits are poor. Because I know, bro, when I was staying up late, man, my eating habits sucked. I wasn't taking care of my body.
Mm-hmm.
Was walking around angry, frustrated, and I couldn't even create properly, bro. God wouldn't even speak to me
Mm-hmm.
properly because my body was sluggish. Like you can't even think clear.
Yeah.
You can't even think,
You ain't got the right
man,
energy level.
because your mind,
Yeah.
you're not, and you can't flow. So, I just want to tell y'all, man, to the young people out there, look, man, it's okay to work hard, and don't get it wrong. There are going to be some nights where you might have to stay up a little bit
Oh,
late, but you gotta. It's
for
a
sure.
reason behind it. You're not just doing it because you're like, man, I just gotta stay up in order to feel good. No, no, no. If you're not effective, if you hadn't created your to do list for the day, if you hadn't set for the, you just trying to stay up to five things, then you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. Put
Absolutely.
put a plan together. Put a plan together for your day and just work your plan. Once it's done, it's done. If you want to add something to it, then add something to it. Now, Ink, you
Got
haven't always
Mm-hmm.
you haven't always had this mindset, bro. Where did the mindset come from, bro? Like growing up as a kid, man, and Kurt, because I know how we grew up, seeing what we saw. Like it wasn't a lot from the physical eye to really give you that mindset. What gave you that mindset? The mindset that you have now.
Man, I would say just my circumstances, right? Like I was extremely grateful, even though I was growing up in what I was growing up in. I think it made me who I am, like as a man, just in terms of that grit, that fight, that hunger. Now, I didn't always know how to process it, right? Like I didn't always know how to process whether it was frustration, whether it was drive, dedication, commitment, right? Like I had this unquenchable thirst to win, right? When I was younger, right? Like it was unquenchable, it was unhealthy, right? I wanted to win. And everything I did, right? I worked my butt off. And when it was time to compete, like I'm not ashamed to say I was a sore loser, bro. Like I was a sore loser. And I think that's part of what made me a decent athlete, right? Like I was a sore loser. I just hated to lose, right? And when I would lose, I had this temper, right? And it would be rage, right? And I'll never forget, man, I was in high school and I was playing ball, and a scout came to see me from the University of Georgia. And we went to play a team, and I'm stoked, right? Like this was early, in my senior year. And he meets me before the game, talk to me, and yeah, we want a tough city kid like you, man, to come down, do your thing. Now this was a big deal for me, right? Because I didn't have a lot of college offers at the time. And so I'm like, I'm about to go off tonight, right? Georgia Scout here, song, right? And so we start the game, and Scout in the stands, and I catch a punt return, right? And I run it for probably like 30 yards, and I make a little move and I go out of bounds, but on the team sideline. And so when I go out of bounds on
Mm,
their sideline, couple of they guys, they mush me a little bit. I give them a little something back, and then I get out of there, right? But it's still on my mind though, right? I'm still hot. And so they go up on us about probably like 2 touchdowns quick. They punt it to me again. I do about 40 yards. I go out on their sideline again. They try the same trick. I lose it, right? I'm fighting these dudes, right? My guys got to come pull me out. And I get back over to my sideline, and my coach say to me, son, your temper going to cost you your life one day. He said, sit down on the bench, right? He said, sit on the bench. And I'm like, man, surely he ain't going to let me sit on the bench. I'm the guy. Like, he don't put me back in the game. Like the scout here. That man sat me on that bench until that scout walked out of the stadium, right? I watched the scout walk out of the stadium. And we got back to Crim High School that night. Everybody left. It was me and my high school coach in the parking lot. And he said to me, son, your life is more important to me than your athletic career. He said, Ink, I get it. You want to win, man. You want to make it for your family. I get that, son. He said, but you got to learn how to channel it. That probably was the greatest thing that my coach ever did for me in high school. The greatest thing. And I think as people, sometimes some of our greatest lessons are the most painful. Yeah.
Man, bro.
Yeah.
Wow, bro. The greatest lessons are the most painful. I think
Absolutely.
sometimes, bro, we try to run away from that pain, man. We try to
Oh,
run
for
away from
sure.
that pain. And
Yeah.
I think in the midst of that pain, you gotta trust the process. I think that's when you have to build your faith up, knowing that
For sure.
at the end of the road, it's victory there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like they said, trouble don't last always, and it don't.
Yes,
It's all a
sir.
mindset. It's
Yes,
all a
sir.
mindset, man. I know you didn't grow up with your pops, bro, and there's some
Mm-hmm.
there's some young brothers out there that didn't grow up with their pops, man, and you know they want to use that as an excuse, bro. I think sometimes brothers use that as a cop out. My
Mm-hmm.
pops ain't around, man. Bro, how were you able to navigate through life, man, without your pops being there, man? Just some encouragement for the young brothers out there that that might be using that, as a clutch, not to keep pushing.
No
What would
doubt.
you say to the young brothers or the sisters out there, man, that the pops is just not in their life?
Yeah, man. This has probably been one of the greatest teaching tools for me as a father. Now that I have my children, now that I have my wife, my family, when I was coming up, man, I'll never forget, I used to be mad like at my father, right? Because I couldn't understand why he wasn't present. You know what I'm saying? Like I just couldn't understand it. I'm like, why my man not present? Like I'm not out here in the streets doing nothing crazy. I'm playing ball. Like, why is he not here? Right. And I had this level of rage, like that fueled rage in me, right? But I knew I wasn't gonna use that as an excuse of not becoming something, right? And so what I mean by that is my father grew up, same neighborhood I grew up in. My mother got pregnant with me at 16. My father bounced, right? And so my whole life, I was just feeling as if, man, he bounced. He just left me. And I'll never forget the day when me and my father finally had a conversation, right? And I just asked him straight up, like, man, what happened? And he said to me, when your mom got pregnant with you, I lost my mom, right? And he said, I was in high school. My mom was the only thing I had. Like, I'm gonna be real, I was scared, man. Like I was running, I was scared, I was mad at the world. I lost the only person that meant the world to me. Your mom came, told me what was going on with her. I was scared. It ain't no excuse. I was a kid myself, right? And he was what he's the best grandfather in the world now. But it made me have a new respect for him that we were able to have that level of dialogue and a new level of understanding that my father was a kid. He was 15, 16 years old, right? Like I got a little sister that's 15. And now when I put myself in that mind frame to understand, I'm not justifying what he did was right. I'm just talking about looking at the macro of the situation and not using that as an excuse of not to go on to become something, right? No, using that experience as well to become a better man, right? Using that experience as well to become a better father, using that experience as well to talk to your father about certain things, about mistakes, about hiccups, about where he fell short, and insight and advice that he could give me to tool me up to become a better man. And so everything, man, the misfortune, the adversity, the opposition, the misunderstandings, I firmly believe all of that can go into the toolbox of a man, right? If we open the space up in order to receive it.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt. Man, man, one of the stories I love to hear you share, man, is when it's two stories in one, bro. You would tell Mom Dukes to when she got out from work, from Wendy's to pull up to the field, man,
Yeah, man.
and turn the lights on. Hey, cause back in the day in the A, bro, it was dark everywhere. You know what I mean? It was dark everywhere. So I understood why she had to turn the lights on because the field,
Yeah,
especially over there
man.
at Cram, you didn't have no lights, bro. Man, what was the
Nah.
driving force, man? What was the driving force
Hmm.
behind that, bro? Share that story, bro.
Yeah, man. My mom, man, she used to work a double shift at Wendy's. You know what I'm saying? And when she was pulling that double shift, here I was, getting rides to practice from different people. Because a lot of times she was at work. Like she couldn't take me all the time, but she could pick me up, right? And we would always ride home and she would bring me something from Wendy's to eat. And when she would show up, man, most of the time people would been offered, hey, Ink, I could take you home. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna wait on my mom. You know what I'm saying? So I would always be one of the last kids in the park. And she would pull up. She drove an old, beat up Beard Regal. You know what I'm saying? Hubcaps off the car, seats torn up. That was me and my mom whip. You know what I'm saying? And whenever she would pull up, man, I would hug her, I would give her a kiss, and I'll be like, Mom, if you don't mind, can you sit back in your car and turn on your car lights? And I said, I got to do some extra drills. I got to go to the NFL so you'll never have to work another day in your life. And I knew my mom was tired. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew she was tired, but she never said no, right? She never was like, man, get in this car, boy. You on these pipe dreams? No. She always was like, all right. And she would sit in her car lights would hit the field, and here you have me running laps, doing the W drill, doing different cone drills, chasing this dream, right? But what it did for me was when it was time to compete, like I saw my mother, you know what I'm saying? Like I saw my mother sitting in that car. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't never about an opponent for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I was gonna try to annihilate them anyway because I saw my mother when it was time to compete. And I always tell cats, man, the harder you work, the harder it is to surrender, right? And that was me doing the hard work. So when it got hard, I wouldn't surrender because I had a picture that was permanent in my mind of me and my mother in the park at night with her sitting there with some car lights on after she just got done working a double shift. And so it was on.
Man, one thing I'm big on, man, is visualization, man. I think,
Absolutely.
man, being able to tap into that spiritual world before things actually happen. I think it's not a tool that people use effectively. And I think kids get a hold of it quick at a young age, man. They use their
Mhm.
imagination, man. They have play friends, you know what I mean? They be in their little cars, man. They be out of space. And I think, man, just from what you're saying, man, that visualization, you saw yourself playing in the NFL. You saw yourself being successful, man. You always had that goal in mind. It wasn't even about the football, man. It was about your mom. It was about your
Absolutely.
your your, your relatives, man. It was about getting your people out of there. And I wanted to
Yeah.
encourage anybody, man. You got to use that. You got to use those things as fuel Stop using it as a
Mm-hmm.
stumbling block. Use it as fuel in your gas tank to keep you going. If you get
Sure.
if you get disappointed or depressed, man, put that image in your mind of where you don't want to
Mm.
be. Put the image in your mind of not having and use that to push you forward. Man, bro,
Yeah.
man, I'm having a good time tonight, bro.
Oh,
I'm
no
I'm
doubt,
having a
man.
good
It's
time.
love,
It's a
man.
good time tonight, man. I appreciate you. Guys, I want to tell y'all something. Um, and y'all might think I'm crazy, man. I visualized having this interview before we had it. I
Mm.
visualize it. I close my eyes and I practice the dialogue. And one thing my boy D1 is like, man, embrace the emotion during the visualization. And I embrace
Mm.
the emotion of what I would feel during this time. And it's manifesting itself right now, man. So God is good, man. When you guys
Uh,
visualize and you embrace the emotion and you actually feel it, it happens, man. It happens. And so the key is not giving up, guys. The key is not giving up. So, bro, let me ask you this, and we go close, man,
mm-hmm.
because I'm a firm believer, man. Once you full, there's no reason to keep stuffing yourself, man. You know, there's no reason to keep eating, man. If you full,
No
bro.
doubt.
Um,
I
as
love it.
as we close out the night, man. What are some words of wisdom that you can offer the viewers, man? We still in quarantine, man. You got places, you still people wearing masks, rock some
Mm-hmm.
people's world, and they were forced to adjust. And bro, there's some people that still haven't adjusted yet. Um,
Mm.
what are some words of wisdom you can offer people, man? Because I don't know when we getting out of quarantine, but I'm a firm
No doubt.
believer of making adjustments and using what you have, using what you have
Mm.
access to move you forward. Bro, what are some words of wisdom you can offer to people tonight, man, as we close out to just push forward no matter what's going on at this current time?
Absolutely. I got two parts to it. So the first part would be it's not punishment, it's preparation. Like it's not punishment. Even though I know it might feel like it, right? People losing things, right? You don't have a level of understanding. It's a level of uncertainty you probably never faced before. It's not punishment, it's preparation for what's to come. Most importantly, if you're in the midst of a level of adversity and opposition, right, that you can't understand, right? Don't try making sense of it. Just survive it, right? Just survive it, right? Some things are so tough, some things are so heavy, some things get on us so quick in life, you can't make sense of it in a moment. Just focus on surviving it. And then when you get through it and we look back on it, then we'll make sense of it, right? But for now, if you're in that phase and you're in that stage, just focus on surviving it, right? Every single day, take it moment by moment, situation by situation, and win the day, right? Look at it with the right perspective. It's not punishment, it's preparation, right? Like when my arm got paralyzed, I'm gonna be real with you. In the midst of it, right? Like I was living my life. I'm thinking I'm 8 games away from being a first round draft pick. I go out and make a tackle, and my life was never the same from that day, September 9th, 2006. My life never looked the same after that day, right? My life totally changed, right? And I couldn't focus on trying to make sense of it in the moment. I just had to focus on surviving it, right? And once I survived that period, once I survived that rough patch, years down the road, then I looked back on it and I was able to make sense of it. I was able to say, praise God, man. I saw exactly what you was doing. Man, praise God for that Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work to the good of those who love the Lord, who are called according to his will and his purpose. It's not punishment, it's preparation, good people. Stay faithful. This too shall pass.
No doubt. You guys, you've now been tuned into another edition of Ride with Purpose with my bro, Inky Johnson,
Yes, sir.
man. Bro, tell the
Yes,
people how they can find you, man.
man, hey man, I'm 101, man. Inky Johnson. INKYJOHNSON on everything. All your social media handles. Instagram is Inky Johnson Motivate because they hacked my original Inky Johnson And so, but Inky Johnson on everything else. Yes, sir.
No doubt, man. Truly, truly, truly an honor, man. It's truly an honor to have you tonight. And I want to
Pleasure.
thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you guys go back and check out the replay. It's a lot of nuggets dropped. I believe this will prepare you guys for it if you just take it and digest it. Go back and take it bit by bit, watch it, and just watch 1 minute of it. Break that down, dissect it, then go back and watch another minute of it. Then replay it all over again. And I promise you guys, your life will be different. Something about your life will be different just by watching this interview. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Hey guys, we'll
Thank
talk
you.
with y'all
All right,
soon,
bro.
man. And I'll let you guys know once we decide to move forth with another Riding with Purpose edition. This was a great show. I'll talk with y'all soon. Gone.
Blessing.